Hey guys, Panther 0822 here. It's a bit late or early depending on how you look at it, so I'm not really going to take a minute to share this out. I really just want to do this before I go to bed. So um, today was not a bad day. The wife and brother-in-law streamed almost a 7-hour full stream of Doki Doki Literature Club, which was really cool. They're going to be streaming more of it tomorrow. And I'm not sure how long we'll be streaming tomorrow, but I know that we'll be streaming and it'll be awesome. So look forward to that. And then I should also be doing a second stream tomorrow. I know I normally do Dragon Age on this day, but the wife really wanted to do the Doki Doki Literature Club, and I thought it'd be cool for you guys to see some games that I normally don't do. But just because I don't do them doesn't mean I want to rob you guys of that experience. So I may ask at times I might actually ask the brother-in-law and the wife to actually play some other games for you guys, so that you guys, one, see kind of some other faces here on the channel, but two, also see other games that I may not regularly play. So anyways, I'm super excited. We got something in the mail today, and based off of that, it looks like I'm waiting for a little further confirmation, but at the moment it looks like the SSDI has been granted, is what it looks like. I'll have a confirmation for you guys on that as soon as I actually get official confirmation, but the item that I got in the mail today is pretty close to as official as you can get. There's only one other piece that I'm really waiting for kind of final verification purposes. So that being said, financially things are going to balance out for us. Things financially have been tight because I've had to pull out of the workforce, but with the piece of news that we've got, looks like the equation's going to balance. I'm very thankful to the Lord as far as that goes, as far as his hand being moving throughout this entire situation. I'm very thankful for the lawyer that has helped me through this situation. I'm very thankful for my wife and family and friends that have been very supportive and helpful in this situation. There's a lot of people who have kind of a misconception, I guess, when it comes to Christianity, or a misconception when it comes to the Lord and the way that he works, and kind of the best way that I can really kind of describe it to you guys is a story that most people have heard. I can't say that everybody's heard it, but it's a story that's been passed around, and there's different variations and iterations of it, but basically a person, and you can say it's a man or a woman, it doesn't really matter, but the point of this is that there's a person on a roof, and there's a flood going on, and the flood waters are rising, and the person says, "Lord, send me help." And there's a person who comes along in a boat and says, "Hey, how about you get off your roof and come with me?" And the person goes, "Oh no, I'm waiting for God to save me." Person goes, "Okay," and then moves along. There's another person that comes by a bit later in a boat, and at this point the flood waters have rised up, and they're intruding upon the roof at this point and getting pretty close to the person. And the person says, "Hey, swim over to the boat, and we can get you out of here." And the person says, "Oh no, I'm waiting for God to save me." And then the waters are just about to take the person. There's a helicopter that comes, and again, same thing. "Hey, grab the ladder, we'll get you to safety." And the person says, "Oh no, I'm waiting for God to save me." And so the helicopter flies on, and then the person drowns to death because they don't accept the 3 offers of help. And then the person gets mad at God and is like, "Why didn't you save me?" And the God goes, "I sent you 3 different things. You didn't take it." So a lot of times what people don't realize is that God's hand is in things, and he gives you opportunities, and he blesses you with things, but you may not recognize it. Or a very common thing is that you're praying for the lottery. Money is always a very common thing. So you're praying for the lottery, and opposed to winning the lottery, the big jackpot lottery, you win a smaller amount. But the amount that you win is just happens to be the exact amount that you need to get out of the situation that you're in. But you're upset because it's not the full lottery. You're upset because it's only the amount that you needed. And simply put, the Lord doesn't give you what you want. He gives you what you need. And that's something very hard for Christians, and it's something that Christians struggle with. I mean, it's not just people of non-belief that struggle with this. People of belief struggle with this all the time. So the kind of the point that I would really want to drive with this is that if you're a person of faith, God gives you what you need. He doesn't give you what you want. He doesn't give you that big screen TV. If you're the type of Christian that's the push Christian, which is to pray until something happens, you need to get into your Bible more. You need to read. You need to study more. And you need to understand that the Lord will provide for you, but it takes action along with faith. Bible talks about it in more than one scripture, but the main one that comes to mind, Ephesians, is my favorite book. And Ephesians is my favorite book for a lot of reasons. But Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 through about 12, kind of actually specifically state that it's not through works nor through faith, but through the combination of both, lest any man should boast. And it's there to keep us humble and there for us to remember. I've been reading through Hebrews. I'm actually reading through Hebrews right now, and then I read through other books as well. And there's a section in Hebrews that talks about, I don't remember the specific verse, but I remember going through Hebrews and going, wow, Hebrews talks about it too, where it's not just faith, it's not just works, it's the combination of both. You have to have them hand in hand. You have to have them together. There was an episode of Monday Mornings. Monday Mornings was a fantastic series. Unfortunately, it got canceled. I think the reason it got canceled was because it tended to focus very heavily on, unfortunately, the things that sell. It focused on kind of the sex side of the equation, and it very heavily focused actually on the malpractice side of the equation, which was unfortunate. That it focused on those things. It really needed to focus on the medical side. I think as long as it had stayed on the medical side, with an occasional thing from the legal side of the equation and whatnot. And honestly, you can't have any series without a romantic side of the equation anyways. So but it was a really good series. But anyways, my point is there was an episode that was in there where there was a particular family that falls underneath the push category in the belief. And the family was praying and praying and praying that their daughter would get better. And the doctor was a black doctor. Decided that he was going to do something against the family's wishes. Ended up saving the daughter's life. And the daughter was very upset. Because the daughter knew, the parents didn't know, but the daughter knew what he did. And if you really want to know, find the TV series and watch the episode. But she was upset because she felt that he had robbed her faith. And he's like, how, she was going, I was praying for God to do something. And then basically the black guy kind of spiritually slapped her in the face and said, you were praying for X to happen. I did it. The way I figured it, him and I tag teamed on this to get you better. Again, God acts in people's lives. You may not see it. You may not recognize it. You may not even want it. But he does act in your life, and you may not recognize it. I know there are plenty of times where God has acted in my life and I have not recognized it, and honestly, this is one of those times. I've been in my Bible a lot more than I have in a very long time, and I've been reading a book as far as it's a daily prayer thing, and it recommends you do it in the morning. I do it right before I go to bed because I like having kind of that prayer at the end of my day, along with, because it kind of gives you some things to think about and whatnot. So kind of gives you a key point, as it were. And I like doing it because it puts it in my brain as I'm going to bed. So it puts a prayer in my mind. And I can see the things that are working. And again, a lot of people say, "Oh, that's just coincidence," and there are people who don't believe in God. And you know what? That's your decision. That's fine. I didn't really mean this to be a come to Jesus type thing, and I didn't really mean to kind of be a little bit of Bible bash. So for those of you that are watching, and I'm coming across a little preachy, I apologize. Honestly, I'm a preacher's son. My dad was a pastor for many, many years. And I've had a lot of people suggest actually that I go into ministry and that I preach, especially because I seem to form a very special bond and seem to be able to communicate with the youth, with teenagers actually specifically. And they're not wrong. I seem to be able to connect and relate and kind of speak to kind of that 9 to 17 bracket is kind of the bracket of people I tend to be able to talk to very easily. I also be able to tend to preach and minister to adults depending on their age and depending on where they're at in their life. But I guess the main thing I'm trying to get to is I'm very thankful for what the Lord's provided for in my life. I got to be really honest. If it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be here. Just plain and simple. That's not a he's my creator and he created me type thing. That's when I was 18 months. I had an inner ear infection. It went into my ear, swelled my epiglottis flap, which sealed over my windpipe and literally was suffocating me to death. I mean, that's plain and simple. I mean, that's not a gross exaggeration. That's literally what was happening. My brain was without oxygen for 5.5. If I'd have to, I could check the paperwork. It was over 4 minutes. The official time, if memory serves, and unfortunately my memory's not great, is 5 minutes 36 seconds. Brain damage occurs at 4 minutes. So I have a minute, to be very, very specific, I have a minute and 36 seconds of brain damage, to be very, very clear. And the fact that I can even be doing this vlog right now is in fact a miracle. I should, by all technical definition, be a vegetable. I should be in a wheelchair and drooling and not be able to do what I'm doing. So the fact that I'm even able to do this, a lot of people would say it's you were young and your mind. No, if you go through and read the journals that my mom and dad kept, and I do actually have a journal from them. It was kind of a code journal, and they kept it. They were very diligent. I mean, that time dated to be, and I'm not even kidding. It literally has timestamps. Wrote down day 136, and they wrote down what I was doing, and then like 2 minutes later they wrote. I mean, it's that specific. And again, they didn't think I'd make it. They really didn't. Sorry, it just it hurt. It hits a nerve. I just want to cry because of the diligence of my parents. What makes me even sadder is the fact that I don't really have a good relationship with either one of them. Unfortunately, because of the brain damage, I was very much blessed. My parents went after a malpractice suit and won, so I'm very blessed and thankful for that. But unfortunately, my mom controlled the trust, and because it was in the family, and my dad specific, and my dad was a CPA, and my dad specifically stated that he did not believe that the custodianship of my trust should be delineated out to a family member, as he believed they would not be able to separate familial duty with basically business. They wouldn't be able to separate the two, and he was absolutely 100% right, because my mother wasn't able to do that. And unfortunately, that created a very large rift in between me and my mother. And that rift really has not mended since it's out of her hands. It's not a lack of trying. My mom and I have tried to mend some bridges and whatnot, but unfortunately, my mother, in a lot of ways, and I can see it in the way that she treats me, my mother has never seen me past the my baby boy is hurt. She just can't see it. Which is unfortunate. It really is. And honestly, I'm not really positive my brother Jason can either, because my brother Jason and I don't really have a really great relationship. Although part of that could be he's the eldest brother and I am out of my mom and dad's first marriage. I'm the youngest, so I mean that really could be a lot of it as well. But there's a very huge rift in between me and pretty close to each of my siblings. The only sibling I really actually had a solid relationship for a while was my brother Tim, and that unfortunately got fucked up. I've moderately tried to mend the bridges with my brother Tim. Not as much as I could. And honestly, I'm not entirely positive him and I are really going to truly ever really mend any bridges. So, which is very sad and disheartening, but it is what it is. There's really not a lot I can do when you reach out to a person and they don't reach back. Can't really do anything about that other than keep reaching out, and unfortunately that creates emotional that creates emotional damage over time, that eventually you have to make the decision on whether you're going to continue to do it and continue the damage or stop. I had to do that with my dad. I don't have a relationship with my dad. It's not a lack of trying. I tried for many years, and it created a lot of psychological issues and damage, and I eventually just had to stop because I couldn't do it anymore. Again, not a lack of want, simply put, couldn't do it anymore. So, and it looks like the stream is having issues. Let's see if we can't change that. Oh, I can't change it once in stream. Okay, that's actually good to know. That's good to know. I'll have to put it back to where it was at. So, this is ending up being a lot longer vlog than I honestly had intended. I had intended on this being short. I guess I've got a lot to talk about. I guess that's what happens at like close to 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're tired and your brain just won't shut up. So, yeah, I'm going to have to change that back to where it was at, guys. I apologize. The latency and the way that this is looking is absolutely horrendous, although it looks like the streaming is crap. Although that may actually end up changing here within the next couple weeks. So we will we'll see as far as that goes. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah. When it comes to God and it comes to faith, it's a personal journey. My journey's not the same as yours, nor should it be. Um, I mean, plain and simple, and I've told my friends this on more than one occasion, and there are a lot of there are some people that very heavily agree with me, and there's some people that don't, and that's okay. But I mean, plain and simple. I mean, here's basically what it comes down to when it comes to the Bible, and honestly, when it comes to God, is you either believe 100% pure fact or you don't. I mean, that's just it's plain and it's I mean first it's really kind of that black and white, is you either believe or you don't, and your reasons are your reasons. And there was a time where I tried to argue against it, and I lost a friend because of it, and because I was, I guess, in a lot of ways arrogant and didn't understand it. It created an issue. Wow, that's really patchy. I'm sorry, guys. But I learned something that day. It took me a bit to learn it, but I did learn something, and that is, again, you either believe or you don't. And your reason is your reason, and me trying to argue you against your reason is a waste of time. Taking the time to understand why you believe what you believe, though, is a different story, because the more I understand what you believe, the more I can understand you, the more I get to know where you're coming from, and the more I get to appreciate you as a person, and I can become a better friend to you because I can understand where you're coming from, which is, again, far more important than me trying to take the Bible and cram it down your throat. It's a waste of time. I mean, if you come to me and you have questions about the Bible and you want to ask me and you want to learn, by all means ask, and I will I will answer to the best of my ability. I'll be more than happy to pull a concordance out, look the subject up. We can go over as many scriptures as you want, and I can give you a biblical answer to some things. I can also give you a non-biblical answer depending on what you ask. So anyways, the next couple weeks are going to be very exciting for us. We need to finish packing. We need to finish selling everything. And then if what I got in the mail today is 100% what I think it is, and the wife and I are getting what I think we're going to be getting monthly, because the MS has put me in a permanent disabled point. I can't work. And there's a lot of people who go, well, there's a lot of people who can work with MS. I literally can't. I really can't. I just I put in my 2 weeks notice with Walmart, and I barely made it through those 2 weeks. It's very hard to keep a job when if a customer comes up and starts yelling at you and you tell them to fuck off because they're being a dick. You don't keep your job very long when you're that blunt honest with your customers. You really don't. Or if you've got a coworker who's being a dick and you flat out tell them, look, dude, you're being a fucking asshole. Pull your head out of your goddamn ass. Again, you don't keep your job very long when you're that point blank with people. You really don't. And because of the MS, I really am that point blank with people. I mean, I was point blank with people before, but I at least had a filter. The MS has destroyed that filter horrendously. Also, because of my short-term to long-term conversion issues, that doesn't work. Any physical tasks that's time-based, I can't do. I couldn't really do those to start with, but at least people were moderately forgiving. But with the MS, it's gotten even worse. And so, I mean, it's just the MS, any issues that I had because of the brain damage, we could find ways to work with it, work around it. It wasn't too much of an issue. And I had filters in place so I could deal with people, and things were fine. The MS pretty much destroyed any and all of those filters altogether, and has made it so that I really just can't work. So, hence the reason why I'm doing YouTube, because I can sit in front of a computer and I can do vlogs, I can do that, I can play video games and yell and scream, and you guys can watch my filters go out the window and laugh at me as I get angry at a game for no apparent reason. And And yeah, so anyways, thank you for listening to me blabber. I appreciate it. It's time for me to go to bed. I did do a blog on my on the website, which the link is down in the description below. So you guys can go and check that out. And I'm gonna crawl into bed. It's well, I'm gonna read I'm gonna read a little bit of my Bible and do and read the thing. I'm gonna do that. But anyways, thank you guys so much again. Thank you. I gotta be honest, us YouTubers really can't say thank you enough. We really can't. So again, thank you. And until the next time, this is Panther 0822. Peace out, guys. Have a good night.